let's. I'm going to. This is the. Anyway, we're finishing. Strange mouse. Technology is not good, I think. It's not what I thought. Well, anyway. It doesn't matter. With this, let's begin the dialogue with you. If you have some questions. It's only one, eh? There is something strange in this slide. It has some property. Oh! No. Esta. I don't put. Another way of resuming this in only two ways of changing paradigms or the consciousness, two types of consciousness, we could say that we are changing from an era where it was what I would call the idealist consciousness. Idealist consciousness is consciousness based on what we have told the goals, and its basic framework is there is a reality and there is an ideal, and we must make an effort to get that goal. That is a better world, or more benefits for more profits for my company, and so on. We are entering another era that the important of the framework is to pay attention to things, to see if we can discover some kind of pattern of significance, of meaning inside that thing that before it seemed to have no sense. From order to chaos, and the balance between the two was paying attention. There was in idealism a dichotomy between reality and ideal, or the chaos. The tool for doing this in the past was the intention, now is to be attention. Intention, let us say, it is involved time. You do something and you will in the future get what you want to get. Effort, and now is more surprise or inquiring. Achieving is the old one, and now we are focused on realizing, discovering new connections among things that previously were not understood as connected. In related, it's very illustrative. I put this in the animal realm. In the past, we talk about domesticate animals. We are more eager to documentate its life, their life. In the past, we talked about teleological, to go some objectives, and now are semantical, discover significances, meanings, and so on. And in education, we are changing the magistral class for the figure of the teacher as a catalyzer. This is a concept also very related in cooperation. Who is the cooperant? Probably the fellows or the persons that whose presence accelerate a change that is not made by themselves, but the others where they are living in. Well, this is a great discussion, and I leave it for the dialogue. Well, that's all. There are many things. I have hidden many slides. Sorry, I'm sorry very much for my bad English. I'm trying to explain very hard, but it is clear that I must learn more English. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Antonio, for your inspiring lecture and enlightening as well. And I'm sure some of you may have questions for you. I don't think you will have remained indifferent to your lecture. Any question?
Thank you very much for your speech. I think it's very, very interesting conference. And I have one question for you. We have in a university work, and you said to us about this is now the end of the educational monopoly. So my question is, how the traditional education education can integrate the new ways to learning about the people?
Well, I don't know, but we really were integrating more and more our teaching or learning in social networks, for instance. Even the learning platforms, as we call Moodle and so on, are giving space to blogs, social networks, and so on. And I think this is the future. This is related to all the human endeavor, I think. Not only the educational dimension, but also all the life cooperations, things, and so on. Probably what we will do in the future as teachers. I'm asking to that. I don't know. I am asking to you. There are many teachers here as well.
Any other question? I have one question for you, Antonio. Do you see any, I think I know your answer, but I'm just asking, just to make sure. Do you see any dangers in the communication revolution?
Yes, but the human tendency is to accumulate power, and this tendency is very much eager. Is easier to make in when you are in social networks if you know how to do it and etc. But there are as well the opportunity of counterbalance that. nowadays in education there are many people who says that smartphones and so on are damaging education or damaging life in earlier stages of life. But I think that's true even. I think the vibrations of the Wi-Fi and the 3G and LTE and so on are not too much healthy. But the benefits that are giving us that technology is more than what we are, the counterparts of the bad thing, I would say. And in education, I think that we have to change our discussion, our classes, our way of teaching things. We must begin to interact and not giving speeches and students have to listen and so on. If we do not that, we'll have to cope with problems with the new wave of students that will be not agree with this, and we'll fight against that. The change is more in our the ball is in our floor, in front of the ceiling.
So we have definitely entered a new area, a new paradigm, from your point of view.
I think so. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about this? I think we are entering the era of cooperation, of sharing. I think I like more the era of sharing, because technology what aims to is to share all what we are doing every day, every hour, every minute, with Facebook and so on, is sharing things. So for the picture of my friend or the picture of this teacher trying to speak English and so on, you can take the picture or record it and upload to Facebook. We are always sharing. This is the key factor of the new paradigm.
We are sharing for the good or for the worst of it, just like life.
I think it's for good. Sharing has in itself a quality of that makes, I think, impossible to the evil, to what we call the bad, to have too much extension. The example of Wikipedia. What do you think that is the knowledge in Wikipedia? Is good or is bad?
It can be good. It can get better. It's good.
In the past, there was a fight, polemical thing between the Britannica Online and the Wikipedia, but nowadays it's clear Wikipedia has won. Why? Wikipedia is made by everybody. Everybody can write in Wikipedia. In the classical thinking, we all said, oh, that's impossible. An encyclopedia should be done by experts, professors, and so on. But that's not the case.
Not anymore, that's true.
Not exactly. But Wikipedia is a more living way of transmitting, of interacting, of interchanging knowledge than was the Britannica model. You can find many other models in this.
Do you think that now that we have this sort of technological revolution, it can actually help to build a more global identity, because you've blurred the lines, you can say the geographical lines that you had before, because now that we're sharing, and we're sharing with people all over the world, we can actually sort of see in what things we're similar and with things we're different. So do you think that this technological revolution can actually help us reach this sort of supra level of collective identity as a global identity?
Yes, I think even I would say that as a fact. It's blurring, you are relating, if you know a little of English as me, you can relate to many people more. It's maybe language the barrier only, but you are realizing, knowing how they are living in every country in the world. So it's more intimate to you. You can talk with them, and you can talk. This morning I have had, in my country we have not that. Okay, well, my smartphone is older than yours, and so on. But you are interacting, and you are seeing, considering them as something more closer to you than in the past. And this is the daily life. Yes, and what I have put of Krishnamurti, that says the nationalities, the national barriers, in the practice, operatively, you can only do this in a network. Because there is a real infrastructure for doing that. Until now, you couldn't have this. You have postal mail, or you have to visit each time, cycles. You can go only once a year to see your friends in everywhere. Now you can collaborate. In universities, many teachers are, for instance, publishing articles without knowing physically among them. That was impossible in the past. So in relationships, people falls in love with people in the social networks and so on. So finally, we could say that social networks are what cooperation is taking the testigo, taking the concept, the old concept of cooperation, and is integrating into this of sharing. No, my English is not very good in this, but sharing is substituting saying cooperation, because it's a multidimensional concept, more than cooperation. That is linked only to physical facts in the sense of physical realm of things.
When you talked about open source, you talked only about the bright side of things. We know of Apple's policy and Samsung and all those lawsuits, and I don't think I think they are very resilient to this supposed change. So why do you think that business in general and economics will align with this paradigm shift?
Very good question. Well, I think that the more complicated, the more complex the evolution is, the more are the threats and the opportunities, as we said in business management and so on. So, many companies are monopolizing probably all of this, the open source thing. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but for instance, Android operating system theoretically is open source software that made Google from Linux and so on. But in reality, many times there are pieces of the software that are not released to the people, or they are hiding some kind of pieces also that are not exactly open source or open to the public. So there is a fight in this new era to monopolize even the movement of open source. But open source that was tagged by Bill Gates as the communism of the software, and it's very curious, has its own response to this. For instance, I'm thinking in the case of what was OpenOffice, the example of OpenOffice. When OpenOffice was, my memory, I don't know if it is well, but it was bought by Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems was bought by Oracle. When that happened, many of the main programmers of this office jumped out, didn't want to cooperate with this new orientation of the open office, and began what you know, LibreOffice. LibreOffice is now more powerful and more widely extended than OpenOffice. Finally, Oracle, I think that it had to release OpenOffice, and I think that it was a present to the Apache Foundation. I think it is now, but it's not. But it has not as presence as LibreOffice. I don't know if my English I'm explaining well. Each time great companies try to make their own tendency, the selfish of people and companies and great corporations try to make a movement towards a closed operating system, there is another response from the community of free software and so on to make another counterpart, I think. Nowadays I'm worried, for example, Samsung, you know, yesterday I listened that they have released a new smartphone with Tizen, you know, the operating system Tizen, that is very, it's based as well in Linux and so on, but wants probably to make something similar that Google made with Android. There are these tendencies, but even Google and Samsung, I think they know that they are playing another kind of game. I don't think they can replicate the capitalist system, even if they are very powerful, because people don't like programmers and so on, or the hacker ethics don't allow this, and people don't want to be trapped in that closed systems and so on. Similar things we can say about Apple. I don't know how many of you use Apple, and this is an old controversy about the iOS system. You know, that it's more closed, or more proprietary than the Android system. But this could be the root of another Congress to talk about this and so on. But I think, in sum, it will be not possible. I think the tendency, the nature of the free software is such that it is impossible to replicate the same than in the past. The great monopolies and so on.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having attended this talk, and you can talk to Antonio afterwards if you want to. Thank you.
Thank you.